It's been a tough year, full of heartache and fear. I shed so many tears, unable to touch you and hold you. It was a time to reflect about how we connect in this world. The way you touched my hand as you look into my eyes. Your sweet kisses upon my lips, the way you run your fingers through my hair. The way your smile lights up a room, I say, it's the little things. It's the little things. It's the little things. It's the little things. This Christmas as we decorate the tree. And it's only you, and it's only you and me. The fireplace is on aglow. There's one thing that I always know. This Christmas, I'm thankful for the little things.
Hey, so how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. Let's start by getting you to introduce yourself. Tell us why you're on our episode of Meet the Artist.
Well, my name is Natalie Jean. I'm from Kensington, Maryland, in the USA. I am here because I released, I actually released 7 singles, but the one that we're talking about today is called The Little Things because it's almost Christmas time.
It's Christmas. Yeah, that's great. So this track, because when it started, I didn't actually relate it to Christmas.
Right? Isn't that great?
Then it's amazing. Because then when you start listening to the lyrics of it,
Right.
it brings it all together. So first, tell me about the little things. What are these little things?
So I could say, about the thing about me is I don't like to write conventionally. I like to be unconventional. I like to represent music in a different way, something that is unexpected. And I think that, the thing I think about all the time is that when somebody paints, like an artist paints, all right, nobody says, oh my God, they didn't do this right, they didn't do that right. But when an artist, like a musical artist, creates something that's a little bit different than the norm, it's always like, well, that doesn't sound like a holiday song, or that doesn't sound like a pop song. But I don't care about that stuff. So I like to create music the way that I want to create music because I tend to believe that sometimes people are tired of the same thing. It's not that the music out there is not great, but you want to hear something new and exciting. So when I first started writing this song, I'll be honest, I started to write like, the normal verse, chorus, verse, bridge, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But that's not necessarily me anymore. And sometimes I do that. So when I write a song, I almost always write it as a poem now. Sometimes, and then the chorus doesn't have to be so big. It could just be one little word that you add in there, you repeat over and over. And so when I started writing the song, I said, people are always talking about the snow, this, that, and the other. And I said, I want it to be a little different. So then I thought about the pandemic and something that everybody can relate to, being fearful, not knowing what's going to come next, and sitting around and realizing a lot of things. People had the time to self-reflect during the pandemic about their lives, about their careers, about their families, about everything going on in the world. So I think it's very relatable. And then you add the little part about Christmas, because now you're going to, as you decorate the tree and it's only you and me, I realize it's the little things that count. And I think during the pandemic, a lot of people realized that it's the little things that count. It's the little things that matter. It's not the big things. And that we need to start really looking at these little things and being appreciative of the things that we have in life. So that's how the song came about.
That is absolutely that's deep. It's because it's something, as you said, that everybody can relate to.
Right.
things that you've always taken for granted, where you can just go around the corner and go and visit your mom, but you never did.
Right.
And then this all kicked off, and you're like, oh, wow, well. And not knowing that, I think that was the problem, not knowing what's going to happen. You know, they always say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you like, this tunnel just keeps going darker and deeper and deeper, you know. But, you know, the light is shining. We can see it slowly but surely. And hopefully we all pull through. But, you know, go back to the music, you know, your inspiration behind. So what sort of, you said you're poetic and you're right.
Yeah.
What sort of artists influence you? What sort of artists do you listen to just get that vibe to think, yeah?
Well, you know, okay, so when I first started out with music, jazz is my first love. It's my ultimate first love. And I started about, I'm old, so I'm older than dirt. I'm going to age myself. So I used to watch Sanford and Son. And Red Fox used to do this thing because he loved Lena Horne, and he used to sing Stormy Weather. And so, you know, I was influenced by Lena Horne, Ella Fitzgerald. Over time, I'm influenced by Celine Dion. I love her because I sing in French as well. And I love Nina Simone. Nina Simone is one of my favorite artists because she stands up for the artist. She stood up for herself. You know, when she would perform, if somebody made just a little noise, she would stop the music and tell them to quiet down, because she really wanted people to really listen to her performance, because it takes a lot for time and money to create all the music that we create. And so I love that aspect of her. I think independent artists just like me and everybody out there should be seen and heard. So I mimic that. Like, I won't play in places that have, you know, TVs in the background. I don't want to be background noise. I want people to appreciate my artwork. You know what I'm saying? So then I went from jazz, because I'm a person that can't stand just doing one thing. I went from jazz to, I released a pop jazz album. That was my first album, called Obsession. And then my second album was a self-titled jazz album. And then my third album was a pop dance French album called Lecons D'Amour. The fourth album was Unafraid, a pop album. The fifth album was, it's called Haiti Mwen Renmenw, which is Haiti I Love You. It was a world album about Haiti, because my family's from Haiti. And then the sixth album was called Where Do We Go From Here, which was a social impact Americana country album, based on all the things going on in the world. You know, it talks about rape, it talks about climate, police brutality, it talks about racism, it talks about anything, you know, that's out there in the world. So I like to, now I'm more focused about singing about the things that are going on in the world, because what I've realized during the pandemic really is that people that listen to music, they want to relate to the artist. A lot of people want to say, oh my gosh, this person really gets me. I'm going to listen to her music. Maybe I can DM them on Instagram or something like that. What I've learned also is that people want authentic artists. Authenticity is very important. It's not to poo-poo on the mainstream artists that are out there, but a lot of people can't relate to that because of how they live their lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think that a lot of people will more relate to independent artists than ever before, because of the tragedy that we've been through, because everybody was involved in the tragedy of the pandemic and stuff like that. So, you know, I just would like to write about the times, and no topic is off the table, because I've written and sang about my own sexual assault. So, and I think I write about that because I think that it will help other people. So I'm all about being an effective artist in this world. That's what I want to leave as my legacy, to say they'll remember me as a person that tried, that sang about it and did that.
No, that is a spot on answer, because you're definitely on the right platform, because that's exactly what we preach, you know. But so you've named about 5-6 albums. It's going to be a very difficult question for you, but out of all of the tracks you've made, what is your personal favorite?
My personal favorite, actually, that's an easy one, believe it or not, because I have a lot of songs out there, is my song I Am, and I'll tell you why. I wanted to write a song about racism. And I wanted to do it in a different way, obviously. And I wrote it as a poem, but at the last minute, I was like, I had to have one word to rhyme, and it was killing me. And at that time, I was going to the gym, and I sat down and I was watching the show, and the word just came like that. And when I went to my music producer to record it, I said, this is what I want. These are the instruments. This is the sound. And then he put everything together, and I did the song in one take. One.
Wow.
That never happens. I do several takes until I get it right. And the song is very important to me because it basically says, you know, the lyrics are basically, look at me, you know, you think you know what you say basically, but I'm a black woman born free. I am love. I am truth. I am everything that I'm supposed to be. Yeah, look at the color of my skin and assume all the wrong things. And so I wanted people to understand what I was going through, what we all go through throughout the years, throughout our lives, and especially during the elections and the pandemic and stuff like that, and everything to do with George Floyd, that it is not easy sometimes to live throughout this life and always being accused, or you seeing people gunned down all the time, and people just think, oh, they believe in stereotypes and stuff like that. So I want people to really look at us and to see that we are real. We have blood in our systems. We hurt, and we are not everything that they see on television. So that's my
That's
favorite.
it. I think that's where most of the problem is. It's just
Right?
the media just painting that
Exactly.
what sells, isn't it? You know, it's bad news or it's this that sells more than oh actually this
Right.
is what it is. You know, I've had people asking me about, oh, so is it all mud huts in Africa?
Right.
It's your fault, you just don't know. You know.
It's ignorance. It's ignorance. And so, you know, they say a lot of things about Haitian people. I mean, Haitian people have been in the news so much these days. It's interesting because the day before the president was assassinated, you know, I showed my mom an article and I said they talk about how, you know, Haiti's that hasn't been in the news. They don't talk about the problems that have been going on. And then the next day it was boom, bam. And since then, obviously, it's horrific stuff that's going on in Haiti. They talk about the assassination, the kidnappings, you know, people getting killed every day and stuff like that. And at one point, they were always talking about Haitians eating dirt cookies, which was a lie. And just, I mean, the country is beautiful. We have white sandy beaches and blue water and all that stuff. But, you know, the media doesn't want to show you that. So, yeah, I understand it's ignorance, but it's time for people to really do their own research and really dig deep to understand what the truth is. You know.
And I think this is that's where thanks to people like you know, you're real. We just pull you and go, oh yeah, do you want to do an interview? You just, you know, you're just right there. And you're sharing your personal story so they can
Right.
That's why it's called Meet the Artist. So it's not this superficial person that is just there.
Right.
It's almost like a figment of your imagination, this person, because you just see them on TV.
Right.
You don't really know what they do, how they eat, what they, you know,
Right.
they don't feel like they just stage presence.
That's right.
To come in here and actually meet the artist, what touches you, what makes you maybe even to the next question, why did you choose music? Why music? Could be anything else. You say you're very political, and you know you could have run for, you know, have run for office.
Run for
Why
office.
music?
Yeah, they'd be afraid of me here. It's interesting, you know. I come from a back. My family's in music. My father's a Haitian singer called Guillaume Verjean. My aunt Sandra Jean, she was in the first all-female band in Haiti called Risque. I have an uncle and cousin that are involved in music. They're producers as well. But it's funny because I never thought I would be in music at all. I loved music and I could dance. I could still dance, and I wanted to do something with dancing, kind of. But I was just like, nope, nope. The whole idea, I was very shy when I was little. singing and performing in front of people. Are you crazy? I was just like, no, that's not for me. Not doing that. And then I moved to New York, and I was going through a lot of stuff during my time in New York, and I started writing spiritual poetry. And then my parents were like, well, why don't you turn some of these songs into some of these poems into songs? And I said, okay, let's try. So my father introduced me to his producer, gave me one or two of his songs to translate into English, and then I had like a 3-song demo, and then I finished that, but I still wasn't ready. And a couple of years later, I sent out the demo to the internet world, and then Tape Music Group found me. The now bankrupt Tape Music found me, and they said, okay, let's record your song. Let's get some more songs, at least five more songs. And then I went to Oklahoma and I recorded it, and that was my album Obsession, the pop jazz album. And then they were supposed to do a lot of promoting and pushing, and they never did. You know how that works out. Anyway, after they take your money. So I decided, done with them. So I left them, and then I started pushing my music myself. I had to learn a lot. I mean, obviously I've been scammed before. I'm not going to, because that happens. But I do my due diligence now, and I really vet the people that contact me. But I'm like, when I do something, I become obsessed with it. And so when I started putting things out on the internet, and I'm like, oh, I can put it here, I can put it there. What's my next album going to be? So then I did the jazz album, self-titled. And then I started, I think I became a member with the Grammys at that point, a voting member. No, I was an associate. And then I became a voting member. And then I've just been pushing it. I think that music has been my saving grace as well. There was a point I didn't even know that I could sing. But I love to sing. It's been wonderful, although this business is extremely hard. And it's a lot of work. That's the misconception that people have. Oh, I'm just going to do music and become a star. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to work really hard. So that's how everything started.
No, absolutely. That makes so much sense,
Yeah.
And as you said, music industry it's time consuming. That's just all you ever do. So this may kind of to my next question. When you're not doing music, what do you do?
My God, I'm always doing music. Oh, well, I can tell you this. I ride my Peloton. I'm on my Peloton bike at least 2 hours a day. If I'm not doing music, I'm watching Netflix, movies on Netflix. The other thing I'm trying to get involved in my community is to be a member on some of the boards. Some of these boards or these councils deal with people that have been affected by racism, human rights organizations. So I get interviewed for 2 things for that. So I'm focused on that. I'm also, I still deal with the music. I'm focused on trying to help independent artists. A lot of people come to me with questions because I'm not afraid to go against the grain, meaning that if I see something that's wrong, I will contact the organizations and say, okay, is there something against independent artists? Is it against the race or because they're a woman and stuff like that? So I'm truly trying to be an advocate for people in many different situations. I like to read at the same time. I like to travel. I just came back from Mexico, Los Cabos. It was a week for my birthday. My friends allowed me to stay in their place with a bunch of friends, and it was a fantastic time. I got to bungee jump, which I always wanted to do, and I will not do that again. It was thrilling. I don't like heights. I did it. Not again. Although I would like to skydive eventually someday. I like to push myself to the limits. Yeah, that's basically.
Well, that's what it's about, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to go out to dinner, fine dining, and stuff like that. And, talk to my friends. I like to keep it going. Like one of the things that I'm doing now is trying to help my friend Linda Chorney. She was nominated for a Grammy in 2012, and she's an independent artist. And back then it was really hard. Back then it was very easy because you could just send out your music, blah, blah, blah. And then later on in the years, they made it a lot harder to become one, especially as an independent artist. And this past week, they announced the nominees for 2022. And she got a Google alert saying she was nominated. But when they announced it on the YouTube Live or whatever, her name didn't pop out. Her name wasn't. They didn't see her name. So, and I mean, it's a big mess right now. Apparently, there were two lists. There was a list on Friday, and then by the time they announced the thing, her name had been removed. Somebody removed it, and we believe it's because she's an independent artist. So we're trying to fight that and all that good stuff. It's always something.
Well,
yeah.
I hope somebody's listening, right?
No, don't worry. I've contacted people. Don't worry, I've contacted. I don't play.
Because there's a lot of great artists out there
Yes.
that just don't need to be ripped off by these big corporate bodies, you know.
Exactly.
And you know, there was actually a discussion that I was having with my friend about a lot to do with radio play, where they have to now charge you to get airplay in the hope that that artist is going to get their money.
Right.
It sounds a bit too far-fetched. I know it's possibly possible, but there are people in Africa that are releasing music. How are you going to get the money back to them?
Right.
These artists just need to be heard.
Exactly.
You know, we don't need anything in between. It's between me and the artist. You want me to play your music? Are you happy? I'm happy. Yeah, let's go. Let's promote it. Let's get your voice heard. You know,
you're 100% right. You're 100% right. And the thing that I keep pushing and telling people is, I find this in the industry, in music industries, that they want to inundate you with the same artist over and over and over, to the point they don't want you to know any other artist besides Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Adele, all these people. Now, these people are great, but I can't listen to them for the rest of my life. And I'll give you an example. When Lizzo was, when she became super popular, I would get into my car Monday morning, noon, evening. It was the same song. Now, in the beginning, you're going to promote the hell out of it. I know that. But the problem is that after a while, I couldn't listen to her anymore. So every time she'd come on the radio, I would turn it off. I would turn it off. I wouldn't listen to it anymore. Now, you're right. It's pay to play. We shouldn't have to do that. We don't have big pockets like the mainstream artists to say, here's $30,000, please play my song. It's just not going to happen that way. And it shouldn't have to happen. The platform is big enough for all of us. They should start introducing independent artists. I mean, they could get, some of these FM stations could say, okay, we're going to take 15 minutes now. 3 people we've discovered. They're doing everything on their own. Check them out. It wouldn't hurt them. It actually, I think, would increase the people that listen to their radio station, because they're not being inundated with the same thing. It's all with the Grammys. It's always the same winners, always the same performers, and their ratings are decreasing. Why? It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
I think that's where maybe that's why I got more into music and I got more into this kind of radio show. Right. Because it's that bridge. Yes, there is a lot of music out there, but not all of them are relevant. You have to filter through, I'll try to count how many tracks I have to listen to till I found you. And I'm like, yep, this one. And, it's now being able to take this, and that's the bridge we're trying to cross now. Take this to the FM and go, you need to play this. You know what I mean? They deserve to be played. Yeah, I know these people pay you, but this is great music. You can't deny people great music because you've sold out all the airtime.
That's right.
And I suppose for us, we're a music station.
Right.
So that's 24/7 of music. And as you said, you can't listen to the same thing. So we're constantly going through music, putting fresh things out there. Yeah, the old school there, you're going to still hear them because, you love them. And you can go back, you can request them. But there are new things coming out. And it's not just because I love them myself. It's because, as a collective of people, they all love them. We share music, all between different creators.
Right.
It's that bit is missing. And hopefully we can bridge that gap.
That's amen. Amen. And it's going to take a bunch of us to come together and say, enough is enough. I mean, even if even if it meant that, you know, a bunch of independent artists got together, raised some money, and bought their own station. I mean, I think it's time that, you know, time is needed. A change is needed because
Mm,
I'm tired of all the
yeah,
stuff.
no,
You
that is true. But that leads me to my next question. I think we definitely still got some time for this. Um, so in terms of, let's say, okay, you right now you saying, yeah, you write your own stuff and you do your own things, and you know, you speak what you want to speak. When money finally, when that big, because that's the, you know, that's most artists dream,
know?
when
Right.
that man with the big briefcase will come and go, yep. Before you can even do an interview with somebody, they have to go through these agents, or before they can even take a picture of you, they have to do this. You know, how do you stop yourself from getting censored?
Well, you know what? I'm always been the type of I'm a straight shooter. Um, I've always been the same way. Like money will never change me. Even if I got that big suitcase that had all that money, I'm still going to be me because that's what's important to me. So, you know how people brand themselves. My branding is authenticity. I just released a song called Authentically Me. And basically the song talks about, you know, tried to fit in that crowd, but realized I couldn't. So I had to run towards the door and throw my mask on the floor. And then it's, oh, I'm authentically me, you know, and then realizing I'm the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I had to make sure that line was in my song. I am the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow because I have to love me for myself. I don't have time for all this other nonsense. You know, there are games to be played. There are the politics in the music industry and stuff like that, but I still have to be me. And yeah, we all want to make the money, but what's important to me, what I tell people, it's about your body of work, your catalog. Are you proud of what you've presented out to the world? Are you making a difference? I mean, you can make a difference in pop, reggae, world, you know, Americana country, whatever the case may be. I want to be remembered for the fact that I did something. You know what I mean? And if I were to be an artist that made a lot of money, one of the things I keep talking about is, you know, like I'll talk about Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran used to sleep in his car, was homeless at one point, struggled. Jamie Foxx found him, introduced him, blah, blah. Why don't these artists ever find three independent artists, or one at least, and not give them money, but introduce them to somebody and say, you know what? This happened to me. I'd like to help you. It's about giving back. So the main thing for me is if I ever became really huge and had the opportunity, had the money or the capability, the power to introduce people to other people, I would do that. Because this, like I said, this platform is big enough for everybody. It's huge. There's thousands of independent artists out there. And a lot of them are even better than the mainstream artists that are out there. You know, I
Yeah.
heard that Beyonce has she has a song. There's 12 writers on one song. Who's making money off of that? I write my own stuff. We write our own stuff. And I have to say that independent music is a lot deeper than the stuff that's out there. You know, I would definitely want to give back. It wouldn't change me at all.
That's a perfect answer. That's really, that's spot on right there. Um, so okay, let me, as we're closing off, um, on that Christmas tree, they have all these little ornaments
Right.
that you could imagine, and one of them represents you. What would it be?
Oh, my
Why?
ornament. Wow, that's a good question. Oh, my ornament. I'm a very spiritual person, and one of the biggest things that I have faith, and one of my biggest thing is Archangel Michael. And so my ornament would be there's a symbol for Archangel Michael. So my ornament would be that because I have faith in myself. I have faith in the powers that be. And that's how I live my life. You know, for the longest time when I was growing up, I didn't believe in myself. I was suffered from depression, and I still suffer from depression from time to time. But I really had to focus on loving myself first. You know, a lot of people, oh, you can't do that, that's conceited, but it's not. Because in order to present the world with great music or whatever you're doing, you have to actually love yourself and love the product that you're putting out, right? And so, you know, it was a struggle, but I got there. I love myself and stuff like that. So in doing that, I had, you know, I believed in the faith. I believed in Archangel Michael. I believe in God and all that stuff. And Archangel Michael, that and the prayers and stuff like that have always helped me through a lot of things. In fact, I have two cats, and one of them is called Michael, and the other one's called Faith. And so I combine those things together. So it's that's what my ornament would be. Bottom line.
Great, very great answer. Very, very great answer. So just for the rounding off, do you mind doing us maybe a little note as a goodbye present for now? Well, this is a till we meet again.
Oh, wait a minute. So before I sign off here, I just wanted to let everybody know where they can find me. Where am I? www.natalie-jean.com. I'm on Twitter at NatNat7. Instagram is NatalieJ0819. I'm also on Clubhouse. Or you can just Google me. The last words I would give to you is to believe in yourself, believe in your artistry. Don't let anybody ever change who you are as a musician or anything that you want to do in life. You know, this platform is big enough for all of us. And love yourself. Love everything that you do. You know, thank you so much to Power Ace Radio for having me on this platform. It was great. It's been fantastic. I will follow you. I hope you follow me.
Surely will do. Surely will. So until we meet again, thank you so much for coming. I will see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Power Ace Radio.